Alright, so I'm going to make the lining to my crazy purse. So this will be part 2. So this is my cutting table. I just got an aught light for it. Aught light. So far I really like it. It doesn't send out a big enough span of light to do the whole table. But over in this corner there really is nothing. So it's so much better than it was, and it is a lot of light right here. Over here it's still a lot more light than there was, so it's good for what I'm doing. So anyways, I've got this sort of a peach colored fabric that I'm going to be using for my lining. It's got a nice thick body to it, and I just didn't want to do a boring white lining or solid black, so when I was looking through my closet, this was the color that grabbed me. So I'm going to cut out the pieces here, and then we'll go over to the sewing machine. I think I figured out a way to film that and not be quite so frustrated. So here we go. So I need 2 pieces that are 3.5 by 11.5, and those are the sides. So to start out with, I'm going to fold this over and straighten an edge. I'm going to cut these pieces out like they were quilt pieces just because they're not huge and I know exactly what dimensions I need. Another reason I like this fabric here is because you can see the grain of it very easily and makes it easier to cut with the grain. Okay, so I'm going to clean up my edge. Yeah. And then I'm going to come over 3.5 inches, so I find that it makes more sense to me to just count the squares here than to try to find a 1 and actually go to a 3, etc., or 0 to a 3. But everybody's got to do it whatever way is easiest and best for them. Okay, so I think this is big enough. Yeah. But I can just trim the ends to make it 2 pieces, because see, it's folded. 2 pieces that are 3.5 by 11.5. I love this cutting mat. I've had it for about, I think, 2 years, almost 2 years. I put it on my Christmas list, and Jason's grandparents got it for me. It's big, it's nice. It's 3 feet by, I think, 2 feet. I think that's right, yeah. So 3 by 2. It's just brilliant. I love it. And then when one side becomes too cut up, I can just flip it over. Use the other side. Okay, so here's my 2 pieces that are 11.5 by 3.5. Okay, so those are the sides. And now I have a nice straight edge here. I think if I just go let's see. I know I can get an 11.5 this way, so I mean, I know this is, but that's not the width I need. I always try to figure out how I can do this without wasting any of the larger piece of fabric. Like, I don't want to have to make any more scraps than I have to. So this part is 29. So it's 15. Is it really 15? That can't be right. That's more than that. 25. 15. Alright, math was never my best subject. So, okay. I think I want to cut one that goes $14 and a half is the width that I need for my. I'm gonna flip this around. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Rocking and rolling now. So if I line this up here, I need to go up 14 and a half. By up 11 and a half. Which is right around there somewhere. So I'll stick a pin up there for my rolling. Okay. So this is I love these clear rulers. You can line everything up and make sure you've got a fairly square cut. Rulo. Okay. Now we'll come over here and make this one 11 and a half. Yeah. Alright, so this needs to line up. That line right there. This needs to line up with this line right here. Across part of the way. Then come up the rest of the way. Yeah, perfect. Lovely. Okay, so I think I need to still square this up or true it up, however you want to put it, a tad. Yes, I do. Okay. So one of these larger pieces, oh, that's not bad, is going to be, so this is the side of the purse, or the front of the purse, right? So I need another piece that is the same width across, but will add 3.5 inches to the depth. So 15 by 11.5. No, that's wrong. 15 by 14.5. Because it'll be the bottom of the purse. So then it'll be pieced together the same way the purse itself was pieced together. So to do that, I need to see if I've got 14 here. I don't think I do, because it should be, oh, I do. That's the 14.5. But this is not 15. Nope, not by a long shot. Well, drat. Gonna end up with a random thing. So I'll just cut it off this edge. I like to try to keep as much, like when I have something that's got a amount of fabric to it, like substantial to me is more than a yard. That's the width of the bolt and all of that. Sometimes even more than half a yard is substantial. So I try to keep all of that together. So what I'm doing is following a selvage edge over here. I don't intend to wash this purse. at all, so I'm not concerned with using the selvage edge in my when I stitch this piece together. You might normally want to cut that off just because it can go wonky and pull different ways. The tension of the cloth is primarily kept in the selvage, as I understand it. So usually you just want to cut that off so everything lays nice, but this is the lining of a purse that I don't intend to actually put through the wash. So it should be okay. So I need to go out to 14 and a half. Yes? Yeah, okay. Mercy, mercy, mercy. I'm not saying MRSA. Mercy. Mercy. As in, Lord have mercy. Okay, here we go. It's still, it's, not early morning anymore, but it's morning, so I've only had 1 cup of coffee. I'm gonna work on the 2nd cup after I finish this, but I wanted to make this lining and get it done so I can move on. I mean, I want to be able to say this project is done, so I might not post this video right away. So now I've got this, oh, you can't really see anything, can you? Nice large piece of fabric still that's mostly 1 unit. I'm gonna fold that up and put it back in the closet. Oh, another reason I was mentioning this morning is I thankfully thought to turn the music down a bit, but in the mornings I usually listen to my WC station on Pandora, which plays a lot more than just WC, obviously, if you can hear it. Why did I want you to know that? I don't remember. I guess I was just explaining why that's what's on. Okay, so half of 15 is 7.5. So if I make the fold on the 7.5, then I should fold out to 15 and I have 2 pieces here. But I have square. And I want square. A lot of times things I make are a tad wonky because I'm not the most precise person in the world. I think it gives them character. At least that's what I say. Precision has its place, and I like to be precise when I feel like I need to, but if I'm making something for myself, usually I like it better if it's a tad off. Then it's a little bit like me. Okay, so now I have nice scraps. Look at this. Those are nice. I can use those. I think I can use those actually. Ooh. That's why I got this. See, there's a method in like the back of my head. This is a good color to use in a project I'm going to be working on. And I don't know if I would have thought of that if I hadn't gone through all of this. So now I should have, fingers crossed. Oh yes, 15 by 14.5, so it's almost a square. So yes. So now this, marvelous with that, and then these are the sides, which will attach to the bottom like so, and then to the side. So I'm gonna reset the camera and be right back. Okay, so we'll see if this is any better. I'm gonna still have to hold it up. Eventually I might figure out a good way to have a camera, or just get a smaller camera maybe, so that you can actually watch the sewing, but I'll just try to remember to talk to you this time. Okay, so I'm going to start with, how do I want to do this? Yeah. So I'm going to start with the long piece. And the side. And make the long stitch. So here's the side piece. So I'm going to stitch long here and just come within like a quarter or so of an inch of the end of the piece, and then I'll be turning it like so and stitching the end. Ooh, I made it a tad long. That's okay. You can trim. It's better to make it a little long, in my opinion and experience. So the main thing is I want the top part, the part that'll be open, I want everything to be at the same height. I know what I mean. Alright, here we go. Flip it, and I always give it a little like extra here where I'm folding to make this corner so that it's not too tight, especially in the lining. It's okay to be a little roomy with the lining, I think. I made a purse one time where the lining was just a tad smaller than the actual bag itself, and so it kind of like hung inside the line. It just, I don't know, it never worked. And so then if you set the purse down somewhere and you had things in it, it made the top of the purse sort of fold in funny. It just made the whole thing more misshapen. It was not the right shape anymore. So the lining is important to get the size of the lining to be the way you want it, for the way you want the purse to look. I mean, you might want it to be saggy and what I would consider misshapen. That might be the look, but you need to know that ahead of time. Unless you just want to learn trial and error, like I do. Okay, here we go. And again, I'm just coming shy of the edge because we've got to attach this other piece. So there's a little bit of fabric there to use to attach it. So now I'm going to do the other side the same way. Oh, and before I go any further, after I get this part done, I almost forgot I was going to put pockets on it. That's going to be easier to do when they're in pieces. So, man oh man. Stuck inside my little head here. Doesn't always make sense. So I used to listen to this symphony when I was gardening. I think I had it on a cassette from the library. So this would have been when I was 16, somewhere around there. You might not be able to hear it, but gauging from the last video I did. Even though I've got it low, you can probably hear it. It was one of them. There was a Sibelius symphony. Yeah. This isn't a symphony though. This is arrangements from an opera. Would that be the best way to put it? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it's too early for me to try to think about the best way to put it. It's a sweet, so this isn't a music lesson. Never mind, I'm not going to do that. We're sewing. We're sewing. Alright, so now that I've remembered about the pockets. So what I have is half of the lining, or more than half, I guess, at this point. So you can see there's the bottom. That's one piece that goes up to the top. So it's also the back or front. And then the sides are attached. Now, I have 2 pockets like this. With a, do that. There we go. They have a snapping, like a flap, so you can have an enclosed pocket. And then this one is deeper, and it's completely open at the top. Okay, so to think about this, I don't think I want all of the pockets on one side. I think, yeah, I couldn't do that anyway because of the size of them. So one side of the bag will have the big, deep open pocket, and the other side will have the 2 smaller ones with the snaps. When I cut them out of the pants, I gave myself a good, mostly 1/2 inch, sometimes 1/4 inch, of the pants part all the way around the pocket. So see if you can see what I'm talking about. The pocket itself, and then here I've got more than 1 inch, but here it's more like 1/2 inch. And that's just because I thought I'd give myself plenty of room for stitching the pockets down onto the lining. So I'm gonna take this other piece. I'm gonna drink some coffee. It's very cloudy and yucky outside. I've had rain for 3 days. Today's supposed to be the last day of rain though. And then it starts again in a couple days, but whatever, it's not 100 degrees, so you kind of have to just decide to be grateful for something because you can't do anything about it anyway. Alright, I still want to talk about the music now that it's on and I'm thinking about it while I'm talking to you about this, but I'm not going to. That's not what I'm doing here. Okay, so I think, so thinking about the purse lining, I also found I tend to put stuff in pockets and leave it there. Like I always keep the mints and the chapstick and first aid-y kind of stuff, like Band-Aids and alcohol swabs, whatever, like in a pocket, and it's just always there. So there's always that kind of weight in the lining, sort of pulling on it. Again, you could deform the purse a bit because of that. And so keeping that in mind, I'm thinking I want to do my pockets offset so that I can have the one with the slightly heavier stuff towards the bottom of the purse anyway. So if I do it that way, it looks a little bit like, I don't know if I can hold this up. Here, I'll put it on me. So here's the lining piece, and these are the pockets. So this one will be closer to the bottom. This one will be closer to the top. I think that's gonna work. It'll also mean whenever I'm reaching in, I don't have to look. I know by which one's up and which one's down. Of course, I would know by which side. It doesn't matter. I'm overthinking it now. I need to stop. I'm going to pin these in place and then do a zigzag stitch around them because this is the inside of the purse. So you can't really see it. It doesn't need to be anything fancy or special. And after I've done that, I might trim the excess of the pants from the whole thing. We'll see. Ugh. See, if I had on different music that I didn't either care about as much or whatever, I wouldn't be tempted to start talking about what I'm listening to. So maybe that's a lesson for me. Okay. Going around the edge of the pocket itself. Glad I left the heavy duty needle in. I'm using all-purpose thread. It's not like upholstery weight or anything like that. I may live to regret that. Hopefully not. So because of the shape of these pockets, the flap on the top is actually a separate piece. So I'm stitching around the pocket part and then a separate set of stitches along the top of the flap. I think that'll do the job. Time will tell. Come on, come on. There you go. There you go. Oh, I ran out of thread on the bottom. Dang it. Well, so much for that. I'm not a bobbin thread, and I'm trying to use up my variegated thread. So I'm gonna just I just realized, looking at my thread over there, I don't have any white. I don't even have off-white. I mean, I have a bobbin of it, but I don't have... I'm gonna have to fix that to keep an eye out for some coupons. How did I do that? No white thread. Not even an off-white. Crazy. So as long as I find the brand is the same, like not just the brand, but the weight. So if it's an all-purpose poly blend or 100% cotton, whatever the type of thread you're using as well as the brand is the same in the top and the bottom, the colors doesn't have to be the same. I used to think the color had to be the same because I would have problems with, in a different machine too, but I would have problems when I would use different colored thread. But the more I thought about it, I had random thread forever from all kinds of people. So they probably was like one was cotton, one was a poly blend, something like that. And so that was more likely to be the culprit than the machine can't tell. The color doesn't really make that much difference to the way the thread works. Ay, ay, ay. Crazy. There we go. Back on track. I'm gonna try. Yes, nice, nice, nice. Okay. So I think that's gonna be fine. Just fine. And I can go back, I'm gonna do the other one first, but I'll go back and trim because you can see I've got, can you see? There's a bunch of extra. But that's okay. I'd rather have extra than not. But my pocket is on there. Works well. Got a long thread I need to trim. So when I was watching the video from before, the part one of this, it's the first time I tried to do this kind of thing where half tutorial. It's not really a tutorial. I mean, if I were gonna make a tutorial, I'd want to like make sure you had a list of materials and a list of measurements and a lot more specific stuff. And then I'd also want to make sure I could have the camera set up so you could see exactly what my hands are doing in good detail, all that kind of stuff. And that might happen sometime, but I don't have the setup for that or the patience or the time at this moment. But I did want to share something, so my girlfriends and I were sitting around talking, and Em actually is the one who said, you know, they have this thing where people sit around and watch other people play video games. And I've heard that equated to sitting around watching other people play sports. You know, makes sense. But what we were thinking was, maybe people would like to sit around and watch other people make things. Maybe, right? There's certainly enough tutorials online that people like to watch. I know I've watched a lot of tutorials of things I have no intention of trying to make. So, well, that's stupid. You can't talk while you got pins in your mouth. So we thought, why not make videos of ourselves making things and post them and see if that's a thing that people would want to do. So we're going to find out. So sometimes we'll put tutorials on here, and sometimes it's just going to be us making stuff. Hopefully we can do a group video sometime soon because that's just funny. That's funny when we're all together, even if we're not making anything. If we're making something, it's especially funny. But yeah, I'm sure if you've got a group of good friends, you know what I'm talking about. You get together and solve the whole world's problems, basically. Which is nice. It kind of feels good to have people you can talk to about things in that way. And we always seem to learn something from each other. I speed up too much. We always seem to learn something. Do we just seem to learn something? We do learn things from each other when we get together. It's not seeming. It's real. Is seeming not real though? Mercy, stop it, Lucinda. Stop it. Just sew. Talk about sewing. I think at the very least, my mom will watch this and laugh and laugh and laugh. And if that's all that I ever get out of this, then that is certainly good enough for me. Do a little. Whoops, that is not what I wanted to do. Dang it. Get out of that. There's too many buttons. Sometimes I hit the wrong button for what I really want to do. The turtle button that just slows it down so you can stop exactly where you want to. I assume that's what it's for. Is right next to the reverse button. I don't usually mean to hit the turtle button. I don't know that I've ever intentionally hit that button. Okay, so my pockets are not on exactly straight, but again, it's my purse. I don't care. If I was making this for someone else, I would be more specific with my measuring and pinning. I might have done more to, probably would have used some kind of fabric glue actually to double ensure, like, it'd be doubly sure that these pockets are going to stay put. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use the pinking shears to trim all this off. This song is such a simple melody. So many things, it just sounds very simple, and it, frankly, it's not hard. Some songs sound simple and they're absolute beasts to try to play or even read, but this isn't one of those. This sounds simple and it is simple to play, but it's not simple to make it not boring. To make this song not boring, I think it's one of those things, it's so relaxing and so just sort of flowing that. And some people will be bored no matter how you play it, I suppose. They're just, well, in my opinion, some people are just determined not to enjoy instrumental music, whether it's, no matter what it is. And I just feel bad for that attitude, because it doesn't serve anybody, including them. Okay. Whew, mercy. So that's one. I'm going to trim the other one, and then I'll stitch the big pocket on there. And then I can put the last piece together, and then all I have to do is sew the lining in. Nothing, right? Super easy. Easy peasy. It's going to be such a long video. I think, now that I've explained what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop talking, and then when I edit this video, I'll just speed it up. So I can show you, I can come back after I get the, if I'm smart, I'll figure out how to edit out all the talking I've done. No, I won't do that. It'd be just too much time. Yeah. So all I'm going to do, finish trimming this, sew that on, trim around the pocket, and then stitch this to that, and then I'll come back. So probably I'm going to speed all that up. I really hate the silence, like it's the silent movie without the piano overlay that they would have had. But I can't think of anything interesting to tell you. So you can just listen to me chit-chat some more. It's your favorite thing to do now, isn't it? Oh, brother. Well, look at that. It's almost over. Here we go. Alrighty, so I love it. So if you look inside, there's the one big pocket. And if we flip it around, there's the two smaller pockets. It's too floppy to actually like go woo. Oh, mercy. So, here's the bag, the zippers. This fits inside it. And as I've measured it, there shouldn't be a whole lot of overhang at the top, but that's okay, that's what I wanted. You say, what? Because normally, to do like a seam where you're gonna, oh gosh, how do I explain that? So normally you sew right sides together, but when you're doing this, it would be wrong sides together because you want the wrong sides together. But you would sew right sides together and then turn it inside out and have a little spot where you have to hand stitch it in order to create a clean edge across the top. But as I told you, I did the main part of the purse using the pant leg hem at the top, so it would already be hemmed. So I don't want to undo that, and I don't want to have to turn this thing inside out. Yada yada yada. I just don't want to mess with it. So what I'm gonna do is try to get my corners matched. Yes, yes, yes. Now, stop and think. Got that all matched, but is that really where I want those things? I think I'm going to turn it around. Yeah. I want the big open pocket to be on the side that has the flap that goes over. So the lining is not, it's not too small, it's not too big, it's just right. Goldilocks would be so pleased. So when I got it in the bottom, right the way I want it, there's a tiny bit in places. Can you see that? Where the lining comes up to the top. So what I'm doing, and I understand this is going to create a seam line all the way around my bag at the top. I don't care, because I'm still going to be doing things to the outside of the bag, believe it or not. And you're like, how are you going to do that without stitching all the way through the lining? They have these things called curved needles. And I'm not saying that to be facetious, they do, and they're pretty cool. So I'll use curved needles. In some places I'll stitch through the lining because it won't matter. But where the pockets are, I don't want to do that. So now I'm just going to go around and pin the lining so that it's folded in. And the exterior part of the purse is just a bit higher. So I'm going to go around and pin that, and then I'll stitch it with a straight stitch, I think. I might do a double straight stitch, but a straight stitch. I don't want to see as another zigzag across the whole thing on the outside. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'll probably speed this part up too. So instead of silence, this time you get a quote. But friendship is precious, not only in the shade, but in the sunshine of life. And thanks to a benevolent arrangement of things, the greater part of life is in sunshine. Thomas Jefferson. That didn't take as long as I thought it would. Well, since this is a channel with friends, it's appropriate. Alrighty. So, I'm not going to put any, I thought I might put a button or something on this the flap, but I'm not. I like it just fine like this. So, here we go. This is the purse. And I'm going to call it done, other than embellishments that I'll add. I might put some kind of fringe on that. Or I might not even embellish it though, to be honest. It's just great. It's so great. So, you know, if you're like me and you'd rather make yourself something than go to the store and buy it, then, and I'll tell you how I came up with this size. I have music books and notebooks, planners, that kind of thing, that I like to keep in my purse, or that I sometimes need to just use, you know, it's just easier to throw it in your purse and go. So, I just use those to measure how big I wanted it to be. I really thought it was going to be, I thought I was going to make a bigger bag, because that was my parameter, but it turned out to be not nearly as big as I thought it would be. So it is just a purse with a nice long strap. It hangs just where I want it. If I decide the strap is too long at some point, you know, it would not be a big deal to just sort of fold it up and stitch it like that and shorten it a bit. So there's plenty of things I could do to play with that. But it's done. Here you go. I will be making a blog post about this, I think, and possibly taking more pictures of it that are up close so you can get all the I almost said all the juicy details. It's not really that juicy. But you can see all of the pockets and the fabrics up close and really get a feel for and an idea of just how awesome this purse is. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our channel, and if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. Thank you.